Hello, my fellow Naropians. What can I say? We did it. We made it through the years of readings, papers, and projects. Congratulations to you all. It is such an honor to speak with you today. As a graduate myself, for it only took me an extra 25 years to finally complete this life task. Nonetheless, I am here and feeling so excited about my future journey. I hope you all are feeling the same way, as I know you are all such amazing people. The many of you I have had the pleasure to communicate with personally have blown me away with the lives you are already leading. Now, with your Naropa education, you will all shine that much brighter. I am not sure how you feel, but personally I know Naropa and the education we have all received is beyond important, especially now with all that is happening in the world. You are all uniquely prepared to be positive ripples in your community. Like a single drop of water, your knowledge will spread concentrically, and like the rain, we will all refresh our communities with compassion and life. For like water, compassion feeds life. You are all now the containers for which it will pour forth, causing life to flourish wherever you are. This is, again, why you and our Naropa experience is so important, for the world needs us right now. The amount of frustration and chaos is just a click away on all of our devices. Please remember how simple it is to change the chaos to equanimity by spreading compassion. Simply asking your friend, family member, or stranger how they are doing today can be the catalyst which brings calm and ease into their reality. Taking an extra moment to see the struggle someone might be having and lending a kind word or helping hand is all it takes. This is the compassion the world needs, and I know from reading your discussion posts and watching your presentations that it is alive in every single one of you today. Please know how special this gift is, and it is an act of sympathetic joy to embrace your fellow human in the warmth of compassionate acknowledgement. Thank you, my fellow Naropians, for being the light in my education experience. I have been so blessed to have had the opportunity to learn with and from you all. Congratulations on completing this part of your education path. Now, go forward, continue to learn, and know that you are all a gift to this world. Be well. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Naropa's University Spring 2025 Celebration and Commencement Ceremony. That's a tough act to follow. I mean, come on, right? My name is Beck Seidow, and I'll be acting as your MC for today. 22 years ago, I left a career as a corporate executive. And I left a life in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, all right, popular already. To come here to Naropa, you know, the largest Buddhist-inspired university in North America, and live in Boulder, Colorado. Now, and I also entered the contemplative psychotherapy program. That's what we called it back in the day. So you're already onto it, right? Corporate exec leaves East Coast, moves to Boulder, Colorado to go to a Buddhist-inspired university to become a therapist. It was a pretty big life move. But it started 7 years prior before I even got here. I started working with a meditation and mindful awareness teacher. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have even known a place like this exists. Does anybody have a similar sort of story like Naropa? What? Yeah. My first year here, I had no clinical experience, right? Corporate exec. So I started volunteering on the crisis team at the mental health center, which a lot of my compadres from the contemplative program had done. Over the course of the next 3 years of my learning, beyond warriors exams and writing lots of papers, I carry with me 2 hallmarks of the program that I attended for 3 years. The first one is how to be with people in extreme states and know what's going on for myself. Yeah. And also, you ready for the next one? And also be in groups, large and small, and know what's going on for myself. So I carry those 2 hallmarks with me in this brief story I'll tell you. Fast forward to 2006. I was in one of those seats here in the center somewhere, a hopeful graduate with a big idea and really excited about becoming a therapist in private practice, continuing to work in public health and mental health community agencies, and become also a psychiatric crisis clinician. But I carried with me these 2 hallmarks, right, all along. As I set up practice, fast forward a few more years, I had to get honest with myself and admit I missed the business world, just not the corporate part. So I made my way back to the business world in the startup and small medium business sectors. And I brought with me those 2 hallmarks. You see, it's not a leap to think about business today and know how stressful it is for CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, senior leaders. That kind of stress, that'll get you into some of that like extreme state stuff. So I'm still using my learning as I've changed my journey quite a lot. My story is only one example of how Naropa changes lives. It changed mine, and it continues to. That me that was sitting out there 19 years ago, and the me standing here, that was something beyond my imagination. And so, dear graduates, I trust that you will go into the world and remember your time here at Naropa, that you'll benefit from a contemplative education and practice, so that you can go and do things that maybe your imagination doesn't quite get. So, I'm sending you all of my blessings because you'll need them. And I'm also rooting for you. I really am. I'm rooting for you because this hurting world of ours needs you. It needs your bright minds, hearts, and spirits to help lead us forward. So thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Venerable Khenpo Suma Bumden, who will offer our invocation. Khenpo Soma is a 2008 graduate of Naropa's Master's in Religious Studies and Contemplative World Religions. He works as the Chief of Research and Translation under His Holiness G. Khenpo of Bhutan, as well as lecturer at the Institute of Science of Mind in Bhutan. I've been to your beautiful country and experienced your culture and people, so I'm so honored to have you come up. Khenpo also was here as a visiting faculty member this semester.
Hi everyone. Kuzo Zangbo, Tashi Dele, greetings to all. So, my dear graduates, as we gather today to celebrate this momentous occasion, to celebrate your accomplishment with honored faculty, friends, and family. Let us all take a moment to invoke the blessings of wisdom, wisdom that flows from the countless sources of the world's wisdom traditions. From the Buddha's greatest awakening beneath the Bodhi tree to Guru Padmasambhava's thunderous teachings that tamed the entire Himalayan regions, from Tilopa's transcendent river songs to Naropa's 6 yogas of liberation, from Mendarava's nectareous healing touch to Yeshe Tsogyal's profound hidden treasures. The contemplative depth of Hindu sages, the prophetic justice of Judaism's witnesses, the compassionate service embodied in Christ, the surrendered devotion of Islam's mystics, the earth-honoring wisdom of indigenous traditions. My dear graduates, you are the living vessels of all these luminous lineages, bearers of sacred wisdom. You embody the convergence of ancient streams. Now, as you step forth from these hallowed halls, may the 4 noble activities guide throughout your journeys. The 4 noble activities: pacify that which brings suffering, creating spaces of tranquility in this turbulent world. Expand your vision beyond comfortable horizons, embracing diversity as the garden where wisdom blooms. Magnetize the conditions for awakening, drawing forth the highest potential in yourself and others. Subjugate not others, but your own limitations, mastering the inner forces that would dim your light. Graduates, please remember that the knowledge you have gained at Naropa University is not merely an academic achievement, but a sacred responsibility to embody the perennial wisdom of East and West, of North and South, of ancient and emerging. Go forth now as bridges between worlds, as translators of timeless wisdom into timely action, as contemplatives engaged with suffering, as scholars whose learning illuminates rather than separates. May the blessings of all wisdom traditions, together with your innate wakefulness, sustain you on the path ahead as you carry Naropa's legacy into a world hungry for authentic presence, compassionate action, an awakened wisdom mind. With the actual words of Shakyamuni Buddha from Manjushri Namasangiti, the king of Tantras, let us all take a moment to pay homage to the indestructible, timeless wisdom of the awakened divine ones. Chokjen doje chogyede yangda darjo keladi tongye lejung keladi sanje changcho keladi sanje jaba keladi sanje delai jazaldi sanje geba keladi sanje rolai jazaldi sanje zumba keladi sanje jelai jazaldi sanje sunye keladi sanje tulai jazaldi meba lejung keladi sanje juan keladi nangha lejung keladi ishe lejung keladi jumdrun jawa keladi sanje rolten keladi tamje tamje keladi ishe kunye keladi sarva dharma abhava svabhava vishuddhaha bhajra chakshu ang aha prakriti parishuddhaha sarva dharmaya duta sarva tathagata jnanakaya manjushri parishuditam upadayati ang aha sarva tathagata hridayam hara hara hum hri bhagavan jnanamurti vagishwara mahavacha sarva dharma gagana amalasu parishuddhaha dharma dhatu jnana garbha. Thank you and congratulations to you all.
It's now my great pleasure to introduce Naropa University's president, Charles Leaf. Chuck. Chuck was named Naropa's 7th president in 2012, and he'll be retiring this year. You're clapping because Chuck has a very deep connection to Naropa that spans over 50 years. Please join me in welcoming Chuck to the podium to offer our opening bow, which is, as we know, a treasured tradition at Naropa.
Good afternoon. Congratulations to the graduates. You'll hear that a lot, which is completely appropriate. I want to welcome all of you on behalf of my colleagues on the Board of Trustees, the Naropa faculty, staff, all our students. Welcome to this spring 2025 graduation. Welcome to the graduates and your family and friends to this joyous ritual and celebration of your great accomplishments. I also want to offer my thanks now to our longtime friend, Dr. Michelle Chapman, who has joined us, and in a few minutes we'll have the good fortune of sharing in Michelle's wisdom, so thank you for being here. My welcome extends to everyone present here, of course, but also to those increasingly large numbers of you who are participating virtually. Like that, right? This year, Naropa faculty and staff have worked diligently, and so we are now offering about 48% of our students the opportunity to join in the Naropa journey remotely. From the literally overnight move to online learning, which happened during the COVID time, with some new resources, growing expertise, and incredible diligence by the faculty and the staff, online delivery is bearing fruit in many ways. These distant learning options are a principal reason that our student population has grown by about 30% over the past few years, a trend that goes against the experience of many, if not most, small liberal arts universities, where enrollment declines are being experienced. We're aware that the expansion of new teaching modalities understandably brings forth some new challenges, which we are making every effort to address. We know we have more to learn. This is especially true as we get better in ensuring online access for students with disabilities and who require and deserve special attention to be paid to their experiences. One benefit of online learning is the ability to attract a more diverse and student and faculty body who can join our community without the need to move to Boulder. We're proud of our 50-year connection to Boulder, commitment to Boulder, and Boulder is happy to have Naropa. Boulder is proud to have Naropa, and we are going to stay here for the long term. However, and it's a community which is clearly richer because of Naropa's presence. Not just Naropa's presence, but what graduates of Naropa who are staying in the area are doing. There is no question that, for example, mental health care in the Front Range of Colorado is incredibly enriched because of graduates from the Naropa Graduate School of Counseling. And this goes on with other graduates as well. But we also recognize that family commitments, cost, and a relative lack of diversity is a barrier for many students and faculty, and we're delighted that we have new doorways for them to join us. I don't think there's a graduation address being given this spring which doesn't say something like the higher education ecosystem is in a fragile place. And there's kind of no way I could not raise it because it's a living issue every day. Consider this, there are 4,000 colleges and universities in the United States. Over the past 10 years, 500 have closed. That's up from 200 the 10 years before, which is bad enough, so a lot more. Half of the colleges in this country have fewer than 2,000 students, and a third have fewer than 1,000. That's the challenging environment that we've inhabited already, pre-January 2025. Last May, for example, Goddard College in Vermont abruptly ended its 86-year history of progressive experiential education. We were honored to become a teach-out school for Goddard students, including those seeking to complete an MFA in writing at a mission-aligned university. And so just so everything is not heavy in bad news, I do want to say I'm delighted to acknowledge one of the Goddard students today who is participating remotely. Daisy is with her family, joining us online, is graduating with a Naropa MFA. She also has the singular distinction of being our oldest graduate at age 85. It's a joy for us to have helped Daisy achieve her dream. I'm sure you know that since January, the new federal administration has taken steps that have resulted in many additional challenges to schools like ours. And I apologize if some of what I say is heard by anyone as partisan, and I'm going to do my best to just tell the truth as I know it about the impact. There's no question that any agency, federal, state, whatever, has room for efficiency. I don't think that's debatable. But today, the Department of Education is 43% smaller than it was 100 days ago. The impact of that abrupt reduction in staffing means, in very practical ways, for example, that every single staff person in the Department of Education who we had connections to through our Office of Student Financial Services is gone. It's truly no one being home. You can't get answers to questions. Financial aid is complicated, as you all know very well, and despite the fact that you sometimes view the Department of Education as an antagonist, in fact, they're allies and have been, and the civil servants that have worked in that department for decades have actually been the reason that small schools like ours have been able to have opportunities to present to students here, and so their loss is definitely being felt. So far, foundational undergraduate financial aid, the Pell Grant, remains intact, but the recently issued budget from the White House is suggesting major changes that will eliminate Pell availability to millions. Most notably is that part-time students who need to work while in school may actually be barred from being able to get Pell support. I don't think this is going to stand, but college presidents and boards are now being asked to become lobbyists and legislative advocates in ways that were really unknown to most of us up to now. For smaller schools, especially, Pell Grant revenue is existential. For every Harvard with its $40 billion endowment, which is helping it bridge the current spotlight that's being shown on it, most schools have a tiny fraction of that to fall back on. And so without Pell Grants, we have a complete overturning of the current system of higher education in this country, and absolutely overturning of the access to higher education to people in this country that deserve access to such learning. In light of this new, hopefully temporary reality, I'm also seeing an interesting dynamic emerging. It's not well known that about 900, or about 20% of all the higher ed institutions in the country are self-declared as faith-based. And if you look at the statistics, what faith-based means is Christian, and that's fine. There are a few others, but for the most part it is Christian. What that means is that those schools are disproportionately located in the center of the country and in the South, the so-called red states. Their presidents, because I'm on all these endless listservs of college presidents, are now talking about how they're calling their senators and their representatives and saying, we have a risk of closure if you don't do something. These colleges don't only fill an educational mission, but they're an essential part of the local economies in small and mid-sized towns in every state of the country. And we're seeing signs that the potential for devastating impact if those schools should actually be forced to close is actually sparking concern not tied to politics or political parties. There are actually seeds of emerging nonpartisan consensus beginning to sprout. And so for those of you who are leaving here and are going home potentially to a state that has elected representatives that might not be understanding the fragility of the situation and what it will mean to their communities, I urge you to send a note, make a call, show up in an office, and help us in this lobbying effort. This is not just something that we should be doing, but it's something that we hope all students and alums will be doing as well. And of course, what's emerged from Washington is not only about money. At the heart of the mission and value statements of most universities is an aspiration to deepen diversity and inclusion across the university landscape. The Department of Education is clear that it plans additional scrutiny of such statements, and if you pay any attention to the news, and I don't blame you if you don't pay that much right now, the government is challenging the ways in which diversity initiatives are manifest. To date, most of what we've seen does not actually have the force of law, but that could change. Naropa has a, I think, simple and profound mission. And for those of you that don't have it in memory, I'll read it. We commit to create a more just and regenerative world by nurturing student insight and awareness, courage and compassion. Through contemplative pedagogy, critical thinking, and active engagement, we offer students the skills they need to authentically engage as effective, mindful leaders. One of the great skills held by Naropa faculty and staff, and which is experientially learned by Naropa students during their time here, is how to hold seemingly discordant perspectives and competing realities. We believe that diversity and inclusion is multidimensional. It doesn't need to leave anyone out. We think that naming and studying the social and political realities of oppression and marginalization is not the same thing as devaluing the humanity and inherent goodness of anyone. This is easy to say, but developing the skills to put that into practice is the point of our contemplative pedagogy. And my colleagues and I throughout Naropa are firmly committed to nurture our vision and our values. They're not available for meddling. To celebrate inclusion, to lift up those who feel marginalized, and to do so without a notion that we need to make trade-offs, which only creates new marginalized classes. That's very possible. That's the commitment that we have made and the one that we will continue to honor. That pledge can be our truth for one crucial reason. the generations of students who preceded you, and each one of you who generously and brilliantly chose to offer your minds and hearts to this community have embraced our mission and given it continued life for the last 50 years. A few weeks ago, we had peer reviewers from the HLC, the Higher Learning Commission, another one of those agencies that has multiple roles in a place like Naropa. They accredit us. They come every 10 years, and this was our turn. They spent 4 days with us. As the HLC does, 3 of the 5 visitors came from faith-based schools because they think they have to. The HLC, since appoints somebody and they figure somebody from a Lutheran, a Methodist, and a Catholic school will get Naropa more than somebody from a school of psychology, and that's fine. They're always actually really cool people. So they were here. They, to their credit, started out the meeting with me asking, what's this contemplative education? So that was good. We have to submit a 40,000-word so-called assurance argument in advance of the HLC arriving, along with, I think the last count was 400 or so exhibits that were attached to this. It was an intense amount of work over the last year. These exhibits supporting our application and demonstrating how we meet the outcomes that accreditors require. We haven't gotten the draft report yet, but I think we're confident that we had a very productive visit. The HLC reviewers are not technically supposed to tip their hands in advance of the written report. They have a so-called exit interview, which is really meant to be just a handshake and a farewell. But being human beings, they couldn't help but talk. We learned a fair amount in that talk. One most notable for you all was a statement from one of the reviewers who herself has been on 35 site reviews, which is sort of beyond anything I could imagine doing. Visits over the years across the HLC, which is the middle part of the country network. Almost 20% of the students of Naropa responded to an HLC student survey, which was sent out before the visitors came. And for context, the usual response rate for these kinds of surveys is 2 to 5%. So you all were engaged. Now, I have to say, I heard that you all were engaged before I saw the results of the survey, so there was an edge, you know, like why were so many people engaged? But nevertheless, thank you for doing it. There were, because there was room for it, there were stated criticisms offered, to be sure. But on their HLC scale of 1 to 5 over a series of, I think, a dozen or so questions, you rank Naropa in each category at an average of 4.3, which says something about what the staff and the faculty and you all are doing at this place. So thank you for that. Moreover, the reviewer said after she went to a student-only session, and it really was student-only, nobody else could get in the room, she said that she had, quote, never experienced a student body more committed to a school and to each other in community. So we get reaccredited, you own it, which is, thank you very much for that. Much gratitude for all that care and compassion. Flowing from that, I'd say that SUN, the Student Union of Naropa, has never been more organized. It's never been more engaged with other leadership bodies, and it continues to be notable because it cuts against every other university in the country. The Naropa Board of Trustees remains unique in welcoming a student as a fully voting member of the board, and we've done that since the beginning. People ask, how do you talk about things that are confidential? There's a basic lack of fear or mistrust that if having a student at the table when the hard conversations are happening is somehow either going to get the other board members to hold back, which they don't, or is going to somehow create an environment where candor is not possible, which it hasn't. I've had the fortune, been on the Naropa board forever, and had the good fortune of probably a dozen or 14 student trustees. Each one as extraordinary as the next, and each one bringing something very different to the table. So that's been something that I'm incredibly proud that we wrote in the initial bylaws in 1986. It was a big debate at the time, and we stuck with it. And to me, Naropa has been very enriched as a result. Naropa was founded at a time of turmoil in the world around us. We formed a few years, I've said this in various places before, but we formed a few years after the brutal deaths of Dr. King, Robert Kennedy, and Malcolm X. The war in Vietnam was still our reality when Naropa opened its doors, and a great many K-12 schools remained segregated in fact, even though it was illegal and most people didn't believe segregation had existed after the 1954 Supreme Court rulings. Our first summer session also coexisted with the conclusion of the Watergate investigation and the resignation of our president. So it was a pretty full summer. Naropa had our closing event for the second session the day after President Nixon resigned, which was just an interesting time. While it might be understandable to think that that time 50 years ago is old history, we are today a society still steeped in aggression and oppression by individuals and governments, by the greatest wealth gap in the history of the world, by an environmental crisis, and by an unparalleled mental health crisis. If it isn't obvious, Naropa graduates are needed more than ever right now. Naropa's 50th anniversary year, which I think we say is ended today, the formal celebration, I could be corrected if anybody wants to, but I think that's right, has allowed us to shine a bright light on this precious place. We're immensely grateful for the generosity of our donors. We've more than doubled the number of donors this year from last, which is incredibly generous. And after the first 50 years, because calendar and time and bodies move on, we're now reaping the generosity from deeply connected Naropa community members who have included Naropa in their wills. I will say, you have the seed coaster, and there's a QR code on the back. I would invite anybody that's interested to join our Honor the Moment, Shape the Future scholarship campaign. You can check out this QR code. It'll take you to one of the scholarship funds, and you can offer a gift in honor of any graduate. This will help Naropa's future students achieve their dreams. You can join at any level. Our dear alum, Christopher Hormel, who this year, as he has for the last several years, supported Naropa with a gift of $1 million. And we can honor the recently deceased former staff member, Rex Maruca, who was in the facilities department and became the manager of the Performing Arts Center, who passed away last fall, left us his house in Seattle, which is going to generate another $1 million in 3 weeks. His gift was especially poignant because it was in recognition of the deep connection he had to our third president, Barbara Dilley, the extraordinary dancer and professor, great friend of Naropa's, and who is the perfect person to be honored with a gift of that magnitude. And we're also celebrating the late Susan Dreyer, a longtime friend, who offered $900,000 in her will, which we received a few months ago. Now, we're not all, this is not like a normal day at the office that I open these checks, $1 million, $1,900,000. This is sort of not the norm yet. I hope we will get there some point. But I think it is important to celebrate the fact that these are people that have stretched. They made a decision to support Naropa, and they did it as their primary recipient of their philanthropy, and that's something that we're incredibly grateful for. My colleagues and I remain open to any chance to talk about the range of needs and giving opportunities that we have. We invite you to plant the seeds that are in this coaster, which will represent a continued flowering of our remarkable community. None of us serving Naropa starting in 1974 could have predicted with any precision the shape of the world that we're inhabiting today. Our founder, Trungpa Rinpoche, himself a political refugee, escaped violence from the Chinese military in 1959, led hundreds who put their trust in him, a 20-year-old monk who had never left Tibet. Many perished on the way across the Himalayas, but many survived. Trungpa Rinpoche arrived in India, traveled to England, and then ultimately in 1970 came to the United States. That determination and commitment led to the proclamation in 1974 of Naropa's 500-year vision. With that declaration, the stage was set, the conditions were arranged for Naropa's flourishing. The continued flowering of Naropa means that the flow of energy of thousands of faculty, students, and staff are in this room today. That energy mixed with your own is charging this space, sparking your minds, and energizing your bodies. We trust that every graduate has the wisdom and skill needed to transform aggression into compassion, ignorance into wisdom, and greed into generosity. For all of us who have had the great good fortune of serving Naropa, in some cases from the first convocation 51 years ago, we've done so in service to the students, to you and to the students that came before and the students that will come after. And with the joy that comes from learning how our graduates have so incredibly affected a world of suffering. Despite the challenges, I'm confident in the ongoing brilliance that the next 450 years of service is going to display. And far from being endangered, and there's a lot of talk that small colleges are endangered species, far from being endangered or feeling despair, each of you graduating today should feel empowered, engaged, and ready to radically transmute our world in ways we can't even imagine. I've had the privilege of offering spring commencement remarks for 13 years. And even more, I've had the blessing of being connected to Naropa from the beginning. I was Naropa's lawyer, young, fairly green lawyer, but we somehow are here, still here. I was a member of the Board of Trustees from the time in 1986 that Naropa became an independent entity, not connected with any spiritual organization. I was the spouse of Judy Leaf, who's our president from 1980 to 85. So I've been the president since 2012, and Judy and I are also fortunate that we are the parents of 2 Naropa graduates. The math of this line was really shocking. Our collective 1 century of formal service to Naropa is coming to a close. 3 finalists seeking to serve as our 8th president will meet with the Board of Trustees this coming week, following their 2 days each on campus recently. I'm confident that we've identified strong candidates and look forward to our deliberation, selecting a new president and beginning a smooth transition. For those of you that are around next Friday, if you want to gather around the Lincoln School, I think we've agreed that we'll have purple smoke that will come from the bell tower. So keep your eyes open for that. The new president is going to step into a deeply caring community. A community that will guide Naropa into its next 50 years. But that person is also going to experience chaos of all sorts. Nothing is going to change because it's a new face in the president's office. But in that spirit of chaos is going to be inspired by the students and carried by the faculty and staff. The average tenure of a college president in the United States is 5 years. I didn't know that at the time. But in large part because of the often overwhelming challenges that people feel in the job. I think I've stayed with this job for 13 years, in large part because of my good fortune at age 19 to learn contemplative practices from our founder and to be able to incorporate them in my kind of professional work. But also my time as president has been supported by the most brilliant faculty one could imagine, the most skillful and dedicated staff one could hope for, and especially for each graduate today and the students who I've encountered over the years. You carry Naropa's mission in your hearts, you express Naropa wherever you are, and the effort and dedication and commitment is exceptional, and so much gratitude to all of you for that. I don't think of myself as sort of a retiring sort, so I'm confident that some next chapter is going to unfold. It probably will not be only a beach chair and sand, although there might be a little of that. But regardless of the shape that it takes, Naropa will remain in my heart, and supporting this magical place will be a joyful priority. We're staying in the area and look forward to finding ways that we can serve Naropa into the future. So now, as I've done since 2013, I want to close with a few lines of a poem written by our founder, Trigym Trungpa Rinpoche. The poem, amazingly to me, seems fresh and relevant each time we hear it. And so I'll read it now. I'll just say, as I do, I translated 2 Sanskrit words into English so that we can have the flow of the language. In the jungles of flaming ego, may there be cool iceberg of awakened heart. On the racetrack of bureaucracy, may there be the walk of the elephant. May the sumptuous castle of arrogance be destroyed by diamond-like confidence. In the garden of gentle sanity, may you be bombarded by coconuts of wakefulness. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you for sharing your journey with Naropa.
It's now my honor to introduce Dr. Michelle Chapman, who is a distinguished cultural anthropologist, contemplative scholar, educator, dedicated, community-engaged researcher, inspiring storyteller, and passionate youth advocate. She serves as the Associate Professor in Crime, Justice, and Security Studies programs at the University of the District of Columbia, as well as founding director of the Mindful and Courageous Action Lab, which advances healing-centered praxis. Dr. Chapman's teaching and scholarship focuses on critical areas such as urban inequity, the wellness of Black families, and holistic youth development. Her longstanding commitment to contemplative practice and pedagogy have established her as a powerful leader in our mindful movement. Come join us.
Thank you, Beck. Thank you, Chuck and Judy. Thank you. Jeff, I was right, it's Jeff. Thank you, Regina and Sean and Rachel. Thank you. Naropa, graduating class of 2025, make some noise. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes. Now look to someone on your left or right, graduates, and say these words. You passed the exams. Wrote the papers and read the books. I knew from the start, you had what it took. You're graduating today. And it's a good, good look. It is a deep honor to join you all today, to congratulate you all today, those of you in person, those of you joining virtually, congratulations to you as well. I'm really touched by the invitation to offer some words on this, your day. And I gotta tell you, it's not often that you get invited to speak somewhere where you exceed the age of that institution. So I got a few years on y'all, but that's okay, that's okay. But more remarkable than my age is your age. And the fact that this institution is still standing and doing such tremendous work in the world. One more round of applause for 50 years of Naropa, 50 years. Still pushing boundaries, still going strong, still preparing grounded, justice-loving, healing-centered, compassionate leaders. That's you, that's all of you. So I am a professor at the University of the District of Columbia, and if you don't remember anything that I say today, please remember at least that logic, compassion, and justice still live in Washington, D.C. Okay? Our nation's capital is still a place that values diversity, justice, equity, and inclusion, and humane treatment of all human beings. So I'd like to share just a tiny bit about myself, because I know some of you are wondering, hey, where'd she come from? That's okay. You've got a right to ask that. So I am the former board chair for the Center for Contemplative Mind and Society, based in Northampton, Massachusetts, founded by Arthur Zions and Mirabai Bush. I just stumbled across C-Mind, honestly. There was a conference happening. It sounded like some stuff that I was into. I'm an anthropologist. I'd done some work around gentrification, interviewing Black church elders in DC, and just really listening and holding space for their realities and the ways that they were pushed out of their communities by the changes happening in their neighborhoods. And I said, you know, this conference sounds like some folks that I could like. So I'm gonna go. And I just found a home. I stayed involved with C-Mind. I eventually accepted an opportunity to join the board. I became the chair of the board, helped plan conferences, all of those things. And so being here today really feels like being among kin. I know that it is, and I thank you so much for welcoming me, all of you. I thank this land for welcoming me. I thank the mountains and the waters and the trees for welcoming me and allowing me to breathe in an expansive way that, as you can imagine, is just a tiny bit challenging to do in Washington, D.C. And so just a couple of years ago, I worked with two other colleagues, Dr. David Robinson Morris and Lee Ray Costa, and we invited folks, higher ed professionals, to submit essays for our book, Contemplative Practices and Acts of Resistance in Higher Education, Narratives Toward Wholeness. And what that book really is about is the ways that faculty at universities other than Naropa are using contemplative practices to stay grounded in their humanity, to resist some of the hierarchical and, I dare say, oppressive forces operating in higher education. That was before 2024. So, of course, the challenges, as President Chuck has mentioned, are much more serious now. But I won't belabor those points because it's your graduation. Yeah? I'll say also, you know, that bio that Beck read, you gotta be careful who you get to write your bio, y'all, because people could think you're full of ego. But I'll share a couple of other things that you don't know about me. My grandmother, the late Evelyn Spinks Lawrence, my maternal grandmother, was a huge influence in my life in terms of modeling contemplative behavior. She was a Christian woman, and she used to get up very early in the morning to pray and have her time with the Lord. And when there was a thunderstorm outside in New Jersey, where she lived and where I would visit her, New Jersey folks in the house? Yes. Come on, Jersey. She would tell us, of course, to turn off all the lights, turn off the TV, and sit quietly. Why? Because God was talking. And as a child, I remember trying very intently to discern what God was saying in the thunder and lightning and the rain. She taught me about Paul Robeson, and she took me to college with her at Rutgers University, and I absolutely loved school. Yes, Rutgers, yeah. And so she's a huge influence. She's one of my contemplative angels. My father, Kenneth I. Jordan, who still lives in Washington, D.C., you know, I'm giving you a little bit of background about me because it sort of provides some context for the other comments that I'm going to say, not too many comments. But my dad, after returning to Washington, D.C. from the Vietnam War in 1975, had a difficult time finding a job because of racial discrimination in D.C. And a cousin of his who worked at a job placement organization got him a position as a custodian at the Smithsonian NMAH, National Museum of American History. Over the years, my father would become promoted from janitor to laborer to rigger to foreman until he retired as building manager some years ago. So I need you to understand that I grew up spending my summers, I and my sister, who's here, and our brother, spent our summers learning the history of this nation. While our friends were at King's Dominion and amusement parks and having fun, we were at the doggone museum, right? Learning about our country, but also cultivating the practice of walking and paying attention and reading and being curious. And lastly, my mom, who is also a beloved ancestor, Barbara Alice Coghill Jordan, worked as a secretary with AMVETS, a national service organization for American veterans. She was also an artist, a writer of children's stories, and had the biggest heart ever. There was a seat at her table for anyone. There was a warm meal and a bed if you needed a place to stay for a while. Serving others, her family, her community was her true joy. And so as I stand before you today, comrades and colleagues, I want to offer just a few more words, not as, a sage or somebody with a whole lot of wisdom, but really as a peer trying to figure it out on this journey with you. I want to offer you just a few thoughts around courage, truth, and joy. Are there any Sweet Honey in the Rock fans in the house? Yes, very good. That pleases me. Their posters are downstairs. It's fascinating. Okay, I digress. So when I was a grad student at AU studying anthropology, I took a class with the now ancestor, Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagan. And she had this assignment for us, right? Now, this woman is an icon, an absolute cultural icon, right? Very intimidating to be in her presence because she knows so much and she moves with such grace and power. She steps into a room and you just sit up a little bit taller. Sweet Honey in the Rock, she formed in 1973. They are an a cappella women's group, 5-part harmony and 1 sign language interpreter, and they just do amazing, amazing work. They've traveled globally and so forth. So I took a class with Dr. Reagan, and she had an assignment for us, which was to memorize a poem from the text that we had written by an African-American author. And so, there was a time period in the semester when we had to come before the class and share our poems. American University is a predominantly white institution and so forth, and, I'm sure they were as intimidated by Dr. Reagan as I was. And after a couple of weeks of making space for us to come up front and share our poems, no one was stepping forward. Nobody wanted to do it because we didn't want to get pulverized by Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagan. And finally, she stood up once and she said, "Now look, you're going to have to find some courage. I don't care if you borrow it, if you fake it, if you catch it by osmosis, if you phone a friend to get it. I don't care if you pull it out of thin air. I don't care what you do. You can conjure it, you can borrow it, but you're going to have to find some courage to do this." And so we did find some courage to do that. But that stuck with me. Graduates, I know that you have courage because of the paths that you have chosen. You have chosen to go somewhat against the grain and study these incredibly powerful, healing-centered disciplines to change our world. But yes, clap for yourselves. Go ahead. But there's something more I want to ask of you. I want to ask that you not only have courage, but in these days and times, I want to ask you to be courage. To be courage. To embody it in every step, every client interaction, every decision about where your money goes, what policies you support, and how you show up in the world. I invite you to consider what it means to not only act courageously, but to be, can you feel me? To be courage. That won't be easy in a time like this, when courage is often met with punishment. But I want to ask you to do it anyway. Be courage. A word about truth. I have a daughter. She's 16, but when she was younger, she used to hear me have these conversations with people, and I would use this expression, truth be told. Anybody use that expression? Truth be told, so-and-so, so-and-so. So Zora asked me one time, Mommy, who is Truth be? It was delightful. Of course, she heard me say, truth be told, and she thought Truth be was a person, and she wants to know, who's Truth be doing all this talking to, right? So I had to explain to Zora, of course, that that's just another way of saying if I'm to tell the truth about a subject, or, if I were to give my real thoughts or opinions about a matter, blah, blah, blah. You know what truth be means. But I want to revisit that question, because truth be is us. We must be truth. Not just be truthful, but we must be truth. We must be truth as we examine our history. We cannot change or revise our history because it is uncomfortable for some, or because they perhaps have not really learned it. We cannot do that, okay? We need to be truth. We are the truth of this country, and we are actually the truth of where this country needs to go. We are the justice and the love and the healing and the compassion and the holding of complexity of these times. That is the truth of where we are, and that is the truth of how we move through Naropa. And a part of that truth is acknowledging that we need healing. Because a country or a nation that cannot hold the truth of its history is doomed to live in delusion. So we must be able to hold all of that. And we must be able to acknowledge that we need each and every gift, each and every skill and competency that you have mastered in your years here, because the nation needs healing. Not just individual clients, the nation, the land needs healing, Naropa. Now, I dressed up for y'all today, right? Now, y'all know it's a little warm in here. But I'll tell you, part of the reason why I did this, because I had the option, was because I wanted to stand in solidarity with a woman who is perhaps the most well-read in the entire nation. A woman who was very abruptly and distastefully relieved of her duties just a few days ago, fired from her job as the Librarian of Congress, the first woman, the first black woman, Dr. Hayden. And so I stand here to represent black women, educated black women, Thank you. And what I know about being a black woman being raised by Black women is that when we feel safe, just about everybody else feels safe. When we make space, everybody else can sit at the table and eat. I know that about us. And so I'm honored to stand before you and share these thoughts as a Black woman, first-gen college student, first one to get a master's, first one to get a PhD in my family. I see you. I know some of you are also the first. But because you are the first, you will not be the last in your family. I see you. I see you. A word about joy. The late Dr. Howard Thurman spoke of joy. He said there are many kinds of joy. Beautiful theologian. He said there is earned joy, the joy that you feel when you've completed an impossible task, leaving no energy for assessing the price or measuring the cost, only an all-inclusive sense of well-being. Earned joy. You all have earned your joy today because y'all about to get these degrees, okay? There's also the joy that exceeds circumstances. It is not conditional. It is the joy that you feel because you are alive. You are a part of the living experiment. That is another kind of joy. And there's a joy that I want to share with you today that comes from my tradition, the Black Baptist tradition, and the HBCU traditions. We do a lot of singing and piano playing and stuff at our graduation, right? You been to a HBCU graduation? Yeah, we do a whole lot of stuff. So we're gonna sing a little bit, so I'm just letting you know. I'm gonna sing a little. We're gonna sing a little. We're gonna do it together. Yes, even you watching, we're gonna do it together, okay? This joy, the foundation of this joy, understands that joy, of course, is complex. And even in these moments when things can sometimes look very hopeless and confusing and dark, what we know as contemplatives is that in every moment, in any given moment, there is joy, there is sadness, there is darkness, there is hope, there is rebirth, there is death. It all exists in each and every moment. And something about that is a bit of a joy. It's a bit of a, we're gonna get over. We're gonna get through. Goodness and justice and love and healing will prevail. And so I need you all to sing this little song with me like you believe it, okay? Here are the words. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Does anybody know this? I kind of think so. All right. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, lots of repetition in Black gospel music, okay? The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, and what? The world can't take it away. Are you ready? This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. One more time, I can't hear you. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. Naropa class of 2025, be courage, be truth, be joy, and be good. Thank you so much for having me.
Next up, I want to welcome Rachel Gula to the stage. Sounds like y'all know who she is. She's going to perform a original song called Creek Bed. Rachel is graduating today with a master's degree in fine arts, creative writing, and poetics. Yes, and during her time at Naropa, Rachel has been a fierce advocate for the arts and frequently led Naropa. And if you don't know what that is, it's an open mic. So come on up here, Rachel.
Hello, I'm Rach, this is my friend, Painter, and deep gratitude to everyone for being here, for my family for tuning in and being here. Gratitude to the indigenous stewards of this land, the Arapaho, the Ute, and the Cheyenne peoples. Playing this song I wrote called Creek Bed, and it came to be enjoying a moment by the water with a friend. And it really reminded me of our interconnectedness to the land, to each other, and how when we give back to the land and the water, we're really giving back to ourselves. And I want to dedicate it to our dear friend, Naropa undergrad who passed away last summer, Alexandria McRae. We met in the creative voice class where we got to experience the alchemical reclamation of singing in community. And so may we remember her and may her spirit flow through and nourish all of us like water.
Sat down in a creek bed with a pal so sweet, seed pod, shaker, and an ukulele. Free flowing, see how it goes. Mallards float, kissing on each other's beat. Natural world, a mirror to us, she said, as critters swam upstream. Shiny feathered siblings came to say, hey, a little treat. We are water, remember you, remember me. Floating free, water's ancient, so are we. Together with the water, enjoy some citrus and warm tea. You are so good to me. Last days of winter, soon it will be spring. She sang of butterflies flying up from Mexico and how the water holds memories. Gave back to and presents gifted through our hands. We are water, remember you, remember me, floating free, waters ancient, so are we. We are water, remember you, remember me, floating free, waters ancient, so are we.
Next up, we have Professor Lee Friedman to Wow, you're pretty popular, Professor Friedman. Lee is the core faculty and chair of the Masters in Clinical, I used to call it contemplative, but Clinical Mental Health Counseling, Transpersonal, Contemplative, Art-Based Counseling program. Here we go. Come on, Lee.
Those are some tough acts to follow, huh?
You got this.
Hi. So my name's Leah, and I'm an art therapist and a professor here at Naropa, but more accurately, I do therapy with therapists about therapy. And it's such an honor to speak with you today, and I want to thank my fellow faculty for this opportunity. I'd also like to thank Beyonce, just in case. So, as it is our contemplative tradition here at Naropa, I want to invite you to take a moment to check in. Take in this momentous threshold moment. Are you breathing? I don't think I am. We are together in this amazing room. Folks are dressed up. Maybe you have shoes on for the first time in a while. Perhaps there are people in this room whose love and support carried you here. Maybe you're sitting here just bursting with pride for someone. Maybe there's grief for someone who's not here. Maybe you feel some anxiety about what's next. Perhaps you're holding some gratitude for loved ones, for family, biological and logical. Perhaps you're holding some gratitude for your staff and faculty. Hint, hint. I invite you to be here in the fullness of your experience and the simultaneity of all your complex intersectional facets. There are a lot of things I could say about this moment. I want to put on my big professor voice and say, these are challenging times. Or maybe I could say, we are facing unprecedented upheaval and our planet is in peril. Or I could speak about the darkness. It's a topic I really like, never shy away from. And there's also part of me that wants to carefully weave in all of the controversial words being weaponized in higher ed, just to sprinkle them in with diversity, so that there is inclusivity of the many perspectives that should be mentioned equally and equitably. But what I really want to acknowledge is that you, graduating class of 2025, are uniquely suited to meet this moment because your Naropa education has equipped you with the capacity to sit with the unknown and that is a superpower. We have practiced together being uncomfortable, and we meet difficulty with creativity and expression of the full range of our experience. You have chosen to listen to your calling, not always the easy path, but it is meaningful work. Transformation, turns out, is hard. Our work is to accompany, to witness, to companion ourselves and each other with all the complex parts. And right now, to feel deeply is a radical act. It takes constant courage and the tenacity to keep coming back over and over in loyalty to the experience that cannot rest until it has been accurately depicted, expressed, and sometimes displayed on the walls, or spoken aloud, or captured in song. You have worked hard to expand your ability to self-regulate, to co-regulate, to communally regulate. We can examine systems that create harm, but we don't sit with systems. We sit with people. Yet while we're in the midst of our day-to-day, it can be difficult to track how this transformation is occurring, especially during these difficult times. I find it is always helpful to be reminded that the caterpillar does not go into its cocoon and sprout wings from its back. That caterpillar dissolves completely into goo. Did you know that? It becomes nothing before it begins to transform. Metamorphosis is messy, and while we are in a state of disillusion, it's hard to imagine our way into a future where we're winged. But it helps to take our struggles and elevate them to the level of epic. This allows us to feel connected across time to others who have faced the seemingly impossible. Many traditions have rituals that help us move from ordinary time to sacred time. This graduation ceremony is one that allows us the opportunity to move into sacred time together. It calls us to attention and awareness of where we are in the scheme of things. Today, you will each make your way across this stage, and it represents the many journeys you took to get here. You will enter the stage as your old self, and you will leave it changed. We need this ritual to help us acknowledge and embody our transformation. Another way we find access to sacred time is through creative expression. It helps to remind us that we do not yet know the ending to our own story. The great Ursula Le Guin said, "One of the functions of art is to give people the words to know their own experience." There are always areas of vast silence in any culture, and part of an artist's job is to go into those areas and come back from the silence with something to say. She said there's recognition that comes from meeting the art and responding with, "Yeah, that's it. That's how I feel." We know the despair when Frodo is lying at the bottom of Mount Doom. But also we have the hope of knowing that there's more to the story. We feel the crushing existential dread, seeing Luke clinging to a pole, newly missing a limb, dangling over the open void of space, while he wrestles with a particularly challenging genealogical reveal. And although he has a long road ahead, we know he will become who he is meant to be. We feel the panic as Atreyu calls out to Artax, slowly sinking into the swamp of sadness. Actually, let's not use that one. It's a little dark. Sorry. If you don't know, ask a traumatized Gen Xer to explain to you what just happened. So here you are, in the midst of your own story. You're at a threshold, and we don't know what's going to happen next. You've cultivated many important practices to meet this moment, and your time at Naropa will remain a point of reflection and a strong resource for you to return to. I'd like to close with a story called Stone Soup. As a good academic, I want to properly cite my source here, but this story has many versions and originates from oral storytelling traditions. But here's the basic premise. There's a town where food is scarce and resources are limited. It's likely a difficult time in the world, and folks are feeling worried and they're hungry. There's a wise elder. We always need a wise elder in this story. And the elder tells everyone in the town, don't worry, I have a magical recipe for stone soup. The recipe is so magical, it's going to feed absolutely everyone. Well, who can make soup out of stones? That's never gonna work. So the wise elder begins making a huge pot of soup with just stones and water. After a while, they begin tasting it and musing with each taste how it's pretty good, but you know what would make it better? Just a few carrots. Or does anyone have a little bit of parsley? Nah, it's getting pretty tasty, but you know, maybe we should add a handful of potatoes. Maybe a pinch of spice or a dash of this and that. So over the course of the story, the elder gently coaxes the community into sharing just a bit of their own treasures to make something communally that no one individual could make on their own. And in the end, there is indeed a rich and colorful soup with enough to feed everyone. It's kind of like a really good warrior's exam. It resonates that we may feel reluctant to share. Our fear about not having enough is real. And also the responsibility of feeding the whole town is too big for any one person to take on. Maybe you're wondering if you're ready to share your gifts. Maybe you're wondering if what you have to offer is enough, or if you'll be judged for the offering you make. Maybe you've heard your call to action and it feels big or really overwhelming. Well, you don't have to take it all on today. We're just gonna go one potato at a time. Every one of you has a treasure to bring to the world, and we, your new colleagues, welcome you to the next chapter of your story. And it's such a pleasure to be with you at this threshold, and the world really, really, really needs you right now. Congratulations.
Now I would like to introduce our undergrad student speaker, Tamika Cox. I feel like I don't need to say anything else, but I will kind of let you know who Tamika is. She's graduating with a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology and with a concentration in health and healing and a minor in performance and visual arts, which I think we might be getting a little picture of here. Among her many contributions to Naropa, Tamika has served as an RA and led several grief alchemy workshops this semester. Come on, Tamika.
Good afternoon, beloved community. Yes. Before I start, I want to thank my mom, Lolita, and my brother, Ahmad, who are live streaming. My family, if you know, you know, who are here supporting me virtually, and I would not be here without you. I love you. Thank you. When I first came to Naropa, I was full of hope of new beginnings. And if I'm honest, full of expectations too. Expectations of what this place would be, of who I might become here. But I was quickly met not just with the dream of what I wanted Naropa to be, but with the reality of what is. And in that space between what I hoped for and what I experienced, I relearned two powerful truths: the value of my discernment and the strength in my vulnerability. I felt burned by that reality, wanting to retreat, to shrink, to question if the open-heartedness I had come to Naropa was naive. But it's like putting your hand too close to a flame and getting burned. You don't demonize the fire. You learn how to hold it, how to tend to it with care, how to use it with intention and purpose. And that takes honesty. That takes courage. That takes community. This community has shown me what it means to be seen, not just in my light, but in my messiness. And I've learned that showing up as I am with integrity, vulnerability, and voice is not just enough, it's everything. As we step beyond these walls, I want to offer something to you all. That we take the lessons we've learned here, the contemplative practices, the somatic awareness, the fierce compassion, and we bring them into a world that doesn't always make it easy to practice them. A world that encourages separation, individualism, and the illusion that we are alone. Let us not use these tools to hide within a bubble of sameness, but to build bridges across difference. It can be attempting to protect our peace by isolating from anyone or anything that challenges us. But how do we know when we are protecting peace or simply protecting ego? And my heart breaks for the stolen futures, for the silence in the face of suffering, and the noise of hate that gets rewarded. For Palestine, for Sudan, for the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I can go on and on and on. For the starving, for the silenced, for those detained, deported without due process, punished for speaking out. For people who come together not for justice, but for hate. For domination disguised as protection. And yet, this is why we do the work. This is why we breathe. Why we meditate. Why we grieve. Why we return to ourselves, not to escape the world, but to face it without becoming the very thing we oppose. The truth is, this capacity for dehumanization lives in all of us. That's why we practice. That's why contemplative education matters, not as performance, but as a responsibility. We are not here to become neutral. We are here to become anchored, because the personal is political. So that in a fragmented world, we remember what wholeness feels like. We become mirrors, forces of truth, of justice, of radical love. And that takes more capacity than any one of us can hold alone. That's why community matters. It's what helps us titrate. It's what sustains us. And I want to be clear. This doesn't mean that we ignore harm or avoid accountability. But we don't reduce people to the worst thing they've done or the hardest truth they haven't learned yet. Indigenous wisdom teaches us that when one element of an ecosystem is out of balance, the whole is affected. We are not separate from that system. The climate crisis, political polarization, cultural unrest, these are all reflections of internal fragmentation. But we are not without power. We choose how we show up. To be honest, even when it doesn't land with everyone. And that's okay. As a recovering people pleaser and a Libra through and through, I wanted this speech to be balanced and for everyone and say everything I need to say. But that's not what life is about. Life is about truth. And sometimes truth only resonates with one person. And sometimes that person is you. And that's enough. That's how transformation begins. Not just in loud declarations, but in quiet alignment to that truth. So, as we sit here now, take a moment to look around you. This is your community, your humanity, your legacy. As Maya Angelou reminds us, people will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget the way that you made them feel. Thank you all for feeling with me, for showing up, and a welcome to your new becoming. Thank you, Ashe.
The house is full of wisdom. Yes. But we've got more to come. Now, I'd like to welcome the graduate student speaker, Celeste Young. Celeste is graduating today with a Master's of Divinity. During her time at Naropa, she's helped nurture a strong sense of community with her online cohort, if any of them are out there, as well as with other MDiv students in general. In August, Celeste will begin her chaplaincy residency at Virginia Mason Hospitals in Seattle.
So the good news is, I'm your last speaker. And the bad news is, I am your last speaker. My dear, beloved community, let us take a moment to be truly present here in this hall or on YouTube, together in this moment of beautiful ritual and change, let us feel the floor and our seats beneath us and thank the land and the caretakers of this land, wherever we are sitting, for their generosity and stewardship. Let us thank our families, friends, seen and unseen beings, and all the causes and conditions, particularly our hard work, that allow us to be here together today. And let us breathe together. Three years ago, the Naropa application essay asked why a contemplative education was important to me. I suspect I'm not alone in admitting that at the time, I had a very limited understanding of what a contemplative education was. I've since learned that a contemplative education is one that includes the heart and the body in learning. It encourages us to feel as well as to think. It invites us to embody our learning actively, not just to regard it from a distance with passive clinical detachment. More than anywhere I have studied, Naropa has encouraged, no, required, that I cultivate a lived experience of the teachings and not just understand the words. Our titular namesake and his dakini would be proud. But why is this important? In a world where we are barraged with messages to consume, we have built the muscles to contemplate. Instead of mindlessly doom-scrolling through a virtual universe of manufactured and actual outrage, we have cultivated the ability to be present, to be grounded in our bodies, and present and grounded in the now with our friends and family. Our mindful presence is resistance to the status quo. Think about that for a second. Our presence is resistance. Our kindness is resistance. Our self-care and compassion are resistance. Our dedication to inclusivity and the communities we create, real and virtual, can change the world. So please, take the time to feel. Still feeling like I'm gonna vomit, I'm working through it. Okay. Feel the luminous web of interconnectedness that surrounds all of us, not just in this hall and online, but spreading out through Boulder, Colorado, the United States, and out into the world. Let us feel this joyful moment of interconnection and community together. Let us feel the beloved earth beneath our feet with our friends and family by our sides. Remember, there is no other moment than this one. We made it. We are here, and we are transformed. Congratulations, class of 2025.
Are you ready? All right. So now we welcome back our President Chuck Leaf and Chief Academic Officer and VP of Academic Affairs, Dr. Jeffrey Pettybridge. No. Pethy. I never get that right. Dr. Jeffrey Pettybridge to confer our graduate degrees.
That's about it.
Someone stole our script. Yeah, there it is. I'll put that up. Yeah, that one. No.
Thank God. All right. We're starting with the graduates, right? Yes. Can you all come back like next week? We'll get it. All right. Would master's degree candidates please rise?
This next sentence is mostly technical, but I ask you to lean in and hear the living beauty in it. Mr. President, the individuals now presented to you have completed all of the requirements for the degrees of Masters of Arts, Masters of Divinity, or Masters of Fine Arts. At the request of the faculty of Naropa University and on their behalf, I present them to you for the awarding of those degrees.
Upon the successful completion of degree requirements by the authority vested in me, I'm going to miss this authority, I confer on you the degree of Master of Arts, Master of Divinity, or Master of Fine Arts, with all of the rights and privileges appertaining thereto.
Lee A. McKinley, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Marie A. Zeladon, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Eric Alexander Novikov, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Genesis Almonte, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Sarah N. Semler Smith, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Tara N. Brower, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. McKenna N. Casso, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jesse B. Fletcher, Master of Arts, Religious Studies. Hannah Blankish Elliott, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Catherine Bordini, Master of Arts, Ecopsychology. Wesley Brooke Irene Beeler, Master of Arts, Religious Studies. Ingrid Browning LaRiviere, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Brenda C. Epley, Master of Arts, Religious Studies. Mary Catherine McManus, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Hollis Cato, Master of Arts, Ecopsychology. Jordan Sarasny, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jacqueline Christina Sabin, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jeff D. Greenberg, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Shelby D. Walkinshaw, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Daniela Warsaw, Master of Arts, Religious Studies. Lexi Daniels, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Tracy DeBellis, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Mukthi Devi, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Britt Donna Boylan, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Carrie E. Harrington, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Amanda Elizabeth Frankel, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Rachel Elizabeth Jensen, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Lauren Elizabeth Krober, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Megan Elizabeth Marini, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Nina First, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Deirdre Flavium Ubewa, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Garen G. Nemeyer, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Emma G. Nystrom, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Alexander Gabriel Benaim, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jordan H. Steifman, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Carolyn Helen Cahill, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Sierra Hubser, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Catherine I. Elliott, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Lauren Jane Isley, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jenna Jarvis, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Brooke Jefferson, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Sarah Johnson McClune, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Alyssa Kalinani Spencer, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Allison Kathleen Drucker, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Stephanie Kelsey, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Natalie L. Feeney, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Robin Lee Hawley, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Brooke Lee Van Natta, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Rachel Lily Ramsey, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Aless Louise Braswell, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Hannah M. Badawi, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Christine M. Fernandez, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Emily M. Pena, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Robert Mark Bainhocker, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Carla Marie Diaz Pacheco, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Leon Matthew Godsey, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Rebecca Merrill, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Andrew Michael Goldberg Rapasarda, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jennifer Michelle Crabtree, Master of Arts, Ecopsychology. Stephanie Michelle Marsh, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Katie Anna Morowitz, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jossa N. Evanson, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Heather N. Chirones, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Inga Overstreet, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Sean Patrick McKinney, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Corey Potash, Master of Arts, Ecopsychology. Sarah R. Klassen, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Rachel Renee Black, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Marion Rose Pierce, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Hannah Rose Wren Nielsen, Master of Arts, Ecopsychology. Alexander Russell Castron, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Isabella S. Clegg, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Graham S. Prather, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Aqueen Sauceville, Master of Arts, Ecopsychology. Luis Sebastian Luna, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. George Sizer Yerger IV, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Sherry Lynn Stanford, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Agnes Starchevsky, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Maxwell Stebleton, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. John Eric Steinbomer, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Christine Suzanne Kenline, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Kayla T. Copeland, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Adrian Tepperman, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Scott Tesoro, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Brady Tobin, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Chelsea Schinker, Master of Arts, Ecopsychology. Alon Yuzhak, Master of Arts, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jeffrey Bruce Duncan, Master of Divinity. Christopher George, Master of Divinity. Andrew Gregory Concepcion, Master of Divinity.
All that have helped me get here, thank you.
Edward Jared Turner, Master of Divinity. Shaviance M. Dor, Master of Divinity. Jacqueline Mary Fensky, Master of Divinity. Laura Michelle Rubin, Master of Divinity. Annie Moyer, Master of Divinity. Deanne N. Turner, Master of Divinity. Celeste Rena Young, Master of Divinity. Huang Vu Yuyan Lam, Master of Divinity. Daniel V. Shirey, Master of Fine Arts, Creative Writing. Laura Bell, Master of Fine Arts, Creative Writing. Daisy I. Dumas Featherstone, Master of Fine Arts, Creative Writing. Devananda Virginia Vargas, Master of Fine Arts, Creative Writing.
Again, friends, I ask you to listen for the living joy inside this technical sentence. Mr. President, the individuals now presented to you have completed all of the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, and at the request of the faculty of Naropa University, and on their behalf, I present them to you for the awarding of those degrees.
Upon successful completion of degree requirements by the authority vested in me, I confer on you the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all of the rights and privileges appertaining thereto.
Crystala Nettleton, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Kai Ariel Holmes, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Yen Blasko Ivanov, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Chelsea C. Hawthorne, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Jimena Duarte, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Alyssa Dye, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Jessa Fortaleza, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Cassandra G. Milborn, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Joshua Grant Sanders, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Hi, my name is Joshua Grant Sanders. I promised myself I would graduate by the age of 50, and this August I turned 50. I could not be more excited, and I'm so grateful to Naropa for this.
Christopher Grossi, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Javiera Naranjo, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Class of 2025, we finally did it. I want to thank my daughter for giving me the motivation I needed, and I want to thank my parents for supporting me in Naropa. Thank you. I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
Kelly K. Sish McFadden, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Amy L. Arroyo, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Lori L. Abinader, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Christina Lauer, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Crystal Lynn Doogie, Bachelor of Arts, Art Therapy. Jessica M. Barrera, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Devon M. Harris, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Rebecca Marie Cole, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Amber Marie LeBrun, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Layla Mayuko Leonard, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Taylor Meadowson, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Christy Michelle Tice, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Ana Perla Martinez, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Caitlin Ray Cartwright, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Jeanette Rochelle Johnson, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Meredith Ruby Mygat Patchett, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Madeline S. Cardon, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Nicole S. Nakamoto, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Saskia Satnam Webermore, Bachelor of Arts, Art Therapy. Jamie Peachy, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Thank you for being the best part of my education experience. May you all be happy, healthy, safe, and at ease.
Audrey Weaver, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Masaki Yamashita, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.